Vicky Bond amazed us with the work she does to improve the lives of farm animals, and therefore food, in the UK and throughout Europe.
Well, I graduated from vet school a while ago now, and I knew that I didn't want to go into clinical veterinary. I'd been on a lot of farms and I felt very much that the standards on many of the farms weren't good enough, and I wanted to work to improve those standards to have higher welfare farming.
Teaching and guiding the food industry to understand that the welfare of animals on farms matter is at best difficult. But Vicky is designing ways to show both farmers and the food industry that there are better alternatives to battery and intensive farming, and delivers the science behind her work to help them better understand.
Consumers expect retailers to provide a certain level of welfare. They don't necessarily understand what it means when we say factory farming or intensive farming, and they're very shocked when they do find out what that means. And that's a very powerful tool to persuade retailers to understand that consumers will care if they see these conditions. We relay the most current scientific information through creating information sheets. We also have, we do on-farm visits where we can go on farm and explain to them about things that we see and issues that we believe need to change and why and what can be done. And so you can incorporate a lot of the current science into those conversations so they can understand that there are alternatives out there.
Vicky wants better quality food.
But primarily it's about doing the right thing for animals.
It's hard to think of 38,000 acres of land under 6 feet of water. You couldn't see the hedges here. In fact, our cameras would have been underwater. That was the plight of the Somerset levels in late 2013. James Winslade's house was quickly filling up with water, but his first concern was the animals and how to rescue them.
The water was rising about 6 inches an hour, and when we started it was just over the toe of my boot where I'm stood now. And when we finished on Friday morning, it was about here. You couldn't see the wall behind me.
That night, he and a few others saved over 1,500 cattle from his and the surrounding farms.
To move the number of cattle that we had to move was a huge logistical problem in such a short space of time. It was a case of we had to just load them up unceremoniously and get them to the market before they drowned.
His cat, Nigel, and his son's goldfish, Peter, that's the fish, not his son, were also saved. His house was submerged and a tree had fallen through it, but James fought on and won. It doesn't come any greater than that. A complete hero. Compassionate, involved, committed. This is Becky Way, someone who's so close to her animals, she almost talks with them.
It was a total surprise when I found out I'd been nominated. An email appeared in my inbox. I had no idea that anyone had nominated me. I was absolutely thrilled. It was really nice that people had been to the trouble of nominating me and that the judging panel had given me some consideration and I'd been shortlisted, so absolutely fantastic, really thrilled by it.
Thrilled as she was, Becky's work at Bristol University's Animal Welfare and Behaviour Research Group finds and implements new ways of farming, putting animals top in the list of priorities.
I started working in animal welfare research, animal welfare science, really probably because firstly I fell in love with cows and really started caring about the lives they lead and wanting to make a difference to their lives.
Becky now has over 100 published papers and continues to develop new ways to improve the lives of animals.
I started realising that there's a huge problem with lameness in dairy cattle. About 33% of the national herd are lame on any one day in the UK. So it seemed like a problem that both needed work doing on it and good science to help us understand how to manage the problem, and somewhere where there was an opportunity to make a real difference to the lives of dairy cattle. being recognised for this award is a real boost, actually. It's, you know, we work away quietly, especially if you're in academia, you sort of feel slightly remote from the world. So being recognised, and being recognised for doing something that makes a difference in the world is really amazing and really encouraging, and will help me in sort of wanting to continue and keep doing this kind of work.